All right. Can you see the screen, Jeff?
I can. Yep, looks good.
Okay, perfect. All right. Good evening, everybody. This is the public meeting for the water main replacement projects. We have two of them. The first one in the area of White Avenue to Blue Ridge Cutoff, East 55th Street to East 59th Street. The second one is the water main replacement project in the area of Booth Avenue to Willow Avenue, East 28th Terrace to East 50th Street. I've also listed the project numbers for each of these projects because during the presentation, we'll be referring to each project by the project number instead of the full title of the projects. So the first project, White Avenue to Blue Ridge, we'll refer to as project 2226. And the water main project in the area of Booth Avenue to Willow Avenue we'll refer to as project 2216. So just a couple of housekeeping items before we get started. We are recording this meeting. So I have started the recording already, and we will post the recording on our website after the public meeting. So if you miss anything or want to revisit something, or you have neighbors or other folks who weren't able to attend, please share the recording with them as well. Since we are doing this virtually and we are on Teams, there are opportunities to ask questions throughout this whole presentation. Please, there's under the Show Conversation tab on the right-hand side of your screen, there should be a raise your hand feature. Feel free to use that, and Jeff is monitoring and we'll be able to call on anybody who's raising your hand. If you're on the phone or if you can't find that feature, please just feel free at any time to interrupt and ask your questions. Additionally, at the end of the presentation, we'll have a time for more questions, and then we'll also have contact information up for the project managers, so you can always reach out to us with any additional questions that you have. I think if you're participating by phone, Jeff, if you're muted, to unmute yourself, it's *63, I think. Is it *63? So just dial *63 and that should unmute you if you're on the phone.
Yeah, okay? I'm not sure. I'll look it up while you're presenting and chime in if someone needs assistance with that.
Perfect. All right. So tonight, I wanted to just go over really quickly, briefly introduce our project team. I do know on the call we have Matt Bond, our Deputy Director for the Water Services Department. Additionally, we have Jeff Martin, our Chief Engineering Officer. Myself, Melanie Jollett, I'm the Water Distribution Division Head. We have Reza, who is our KC Water Project Manager. He's going to be the project manager for both projects. We have Brian, who's our KC Water Inspector. He'll be the inspector for both of our projects as well. And then we also have Jason Conklin with Infrastructure Solutions, and he'll be the contractor project manager for both projects as well. To kick off the public meeting tonight, I'm going to turn it over to Jeff, and he's going to give us a little bit of background on water services.
Thanks, Melanie. And just real quick, so I did confirm it's *6 to mute and unmute yourself if you're joining us by phone tonight. So we'll make note of that for the next meeting as well. So, but thanks everyone for joining us tonight. And for those of you watching the recording later on, just like to take a little time at the beginning to discuss a little bit about KC Water and the fact that we are actually not only your water utility here in Kansas City, Missouri, but also your wastewater utility and stormwater utility. So we're really three utilities rolled into one here. So and in order, next slide, in order to provide services for all three of those utilities, actually takes quite a bit of assets. So for our water utility, we actually have one water treatment plant here in KCMO. It's there just on the north side of the river near North Kansas City. About 18 pump stations to move that water around at the pressures needed. Over 2,800 miles of water main in the ground to distribute that water to all our customers and residents throughout the city. And many valves and another 23,000 fire hydrants. On the wastewater utility side, we actually have 6 wastewater treatment plants throughout the city. So 3 along the Missouri River and then 3 further north along the northern city limit line to serve that portion of the Northland. Another 39 pump stations to move the wastewater around, 2,800 miles of pipes, and over 67,000 manholes that we have in place to maintain. And then probably the utility that people forget about the most with us is our stormwater utility. So we have another about 630 miles of storm sewer pipe installed. And so that's the pipe along with those storm inlets, curb inlets along the streets that move the rainwater off the streets into the piping system and ultimately into the creeks, rivers, streams that along there. And we also have 13.5 miles of levees that we maintain to help keep flood-prone areas from flooding along different rivers and tributaries throughout the city. So, and all that kind of ties together to our one water source here in KCMO, which is the Missouri River. So not only do we get our drinking water from the Missouri River and aquifers that are fed by it, but also our stormwater runs to it, and then our cleaned wastewater is discharged to it and the surrounding tributaries. So it's really important that we keep the Missouri River viable for utilization, not only by us and the citizens here in Kansas City, but for those to the north and south of us as well. So just like to keep remind everybody of the unique situation we have and how valuable the river is for us here in Kansas City. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Melanie.
All right, thanks, Jeff. So quick little history on the water main replacement program, since we're here to discuss two projects within this program. As Jeff mentioned, the KC water distribution system has approximately 2,800 miles of water mains throughout the distribution system. Some of these mains date back to the 1800s. And so we do have some aging infrastructure within our system. This is a nationwide challenge. It's not something that's unique to Kansas City, but what is unique to Kansas City Water is we did implement a water main replacement program about 8 years ago. And the goal of this program is to replace 1% of our distribution system every year. So that equates to about 28 miles of mains that are replaced every year. As I mentioned, we're in our 8th year of this program, and to date, we've replaced over 200 miles of infrastructure. So we're making some really good progress within this program. So how do we identify which mains get replaced and when? So one of the things that we've invested in here at KC Water is we did invest in a software program called Info Asset Manager. And this program works with our GIS and our asset management system, which basically is a compilation of all of our facilities and infrastructure that we have throughout the distribution system. And we're able to evaluate the condition of our water mains. So basically what we're doing is we've developed likelihood and consequence of failure criteria. So we look at each main and we look at the age of the main, we look at the material of the main, we look at what demands that main is providing, and just a slew of different criteria to look at the likelihood and consequence of failure if a certain main fails. From that, we're able to establish a risk to the pipe, and then we're able to develop design projects based on the highest 28 miles, based on 28 miles of the highest risk mains. So we develop these projects with the highest risk mains to design replacement infrastructure for them. So the design projects, we do design all of the new projects, all of our new mains to be zinc-coated ductile iron pipes, and they're wrapped in a polyethylene sleeve. And what that does is the ductile iron pipe is a pretty strong material, and then the zinc-coated and the polyethylene sleeve help with corrosion on that pipe. So basically, these new pipes have a lifespan of about 100 years. So once we put them in the ground, we should see less breaks on these mains, and that's going to reduce operation and maintenance costs. And then additionally, by putting in the newer pipes that don't have a lot of buildup or tuberculation on the inside of the pipes, we increase the capacity and fire flow available to our customers with these new pipes. So tonight we're going to talk about two projects. The first project is project 2227. And what we have up here is a map kind of illustrating the different mains that are included in this project. This is a pretty large project. It spans a pretty big area, and we're replacing about 18,500 feet of main. And I believe we have 4-inch, 6-inch, 8-inch, and 12-inch mains within this project that we'll be replacing. And so you can kind of see, like I said, this presentation is getting recorded. And so if you need to come back and look at specific locations of where mains are getting replaced, this is a good map to illustrate where the project is located. The second project that we're talking about tonight is project 2216. Again, another large project, and this is almost 20,000 feet of main that's going to be replaced. Again, it includes 4-inch, 6-inch, 8-inch, and 12-inch mains, all to be replaced over the next course. I think both of these projects have a year-long construction schedule, so these will be replaced over the next year. So what happens on your block during these water main replacement projects? So the first thing that's going to happen is we are going to talk about schedule here in a little bit with our contractor, but you're going to see people out in your neighborhoods and they're going to be marking utilities. They're going to maybe potholing to verify locations of utilities and elevations of those, and they're going to be taking pre-construction photos. So you'll see some movement, but we won't actually be starting the physical construction for a couple of weeks still. Additionally, the contractor is going to implement their traffic control plan. There may be some routes that might be some traffic that needs to be rerouted depending on where the main is going to be located. So they'll start getting those implemented and coordinating with customers that are going to be impacted with that. Then in a couple of weeks, after we have kind of the pre-work done, that's when we'll actually start seeing the implementation and the installation of the new pipe. And so basically what's going to happen is that's when you'll see the construction crews out there excavating the new trenches. Some of the mains are going to be in grassy areas within the right of way, but some will also be in the roadways. And so they'll have to cut pavement. Once they get the narrow trench or the trench cut, then they'll lay the new pipe, and then they'll be able to connect a temporary connection on each side of the pipe to get water into it, and we'll be able to test and disinfect that new water main. So what happens is we'll still have the existing main in service and we'll have the new main. We've got to fill it up with water and we've got to pressure test it to make sure it's not leaking. And then we have to disinfect it as well to make sure that the water is clean. To do that is going to be a couple of days. So while that's happening, the crews will likely leave and let the pipe sit there and get the disinfection going. And then they'll come back once we've passed the pressure tests and the disinfection tests, and then they'll tie in services to the new main. After they tie in services to the new main, then they will construct the permanent connections on either end, and they'll abandon the existing water main, and the new main will be in service. And so how does this impact the customers? Basically, what we like to say is we have 3 planned outages as they're doing this installation of the new main, and then there might be some unplanned outages. So when they construct the temporary connections on either end of the pipe, that will be a planned outage. And these outages typically last, 4 to 6 hours is what we plan for. There could be some unforeseen reasons why it might take longer, but the contractor will be in communication with everyone for these outages. So they will provide 48 hours notice before the outage occurs. And then if there are some delays, they will also be in contact with everybody. The third planned outage is when we reconnect the services. Again, that'll be probably a 4-hour outage, and they'll tie in the service from the existing main to the new main. And then again, could be some unforeseen reasons why that might take a little bit longer than 4 hours, but you will be notified 48 hours in advance of that as well. As I mentioned, these are the 3 planned outages that we have. We could also have unforeseen outages as we're replacing as we're connecting the new main to the existing infrastructure. We might be seeing some movement with the construction and everything, so we may see some main breaks that we weren't planning on. Those outages we will jump on right away and try to get water back in service as quickly as we can. So the last thing that the contractor will do is they will complete restoration. So there will be both temporary and permanent restoration depending on the time of the year that the work is done and depending on the type of restorations that's required. So anything in the yard will be that is disturbed will be restored. If it's sodding season, it'll get restored right away. Otherwise, we might have to wait until sodding season comes back. So they'll put some temporary erosion control down. But then they'll come back during the correct time of year to restore yards. Okay. So what to expect during construction? There will be large equipment that will be used, and there probably will be some dust and some loud noises that the contractor will do their best to control. When Jason gets on, he'll talk about working time frames. And so you'll have the time during the week and the days which you should expect them to be out on site. As we discussed, we'll have short periods where we'll be out of water. Again, you'll be notified beforehand of when those are going to happen. Any sort of curbs, driveways, pavement, yard will be restored per KCMO Public Works standards. And so sometimes we have to cut across driveways. We have to replace curbs, but the contractor is responsible for all restoration. Again, established lawn areas will be sodded during the correct season to do sod. Travel routes might be restricted at any time. If you need to get out of your home, if there's a trench, the contractors are on site and they'll be able to put temporary plates over anything so that will always have access into and out of your home. Like I mentioned, by putting in these new mains, we are reducing the likelihood of main failures in the future, and then fire protection is going to be enhanced throughout the neighborhood. So this is a little bit of annoyance for some really good features that are going to happen with this project. So this is a quick little exhibit that I wanted to show to kind of illustrate. You can see where the water main is. This is the sewer main. This is just a quick little graphic, not necessarily to scale, but at the right-of-way line, everything outside of the right-of-way, or I guess inside of the right-of-way is KC Water responsibility, and everything outside of the right-of-way is the property owner's responsibility. And so one of the things that we're going to be doing on both projects is several customers do have meters located inside of their homes. We will, as part of this project, relocate meters from inside of the home. Typically, they're in the basement, and we will be putting them outside in the yard in a new meter box. If the meter is already located outside, we're going to make sure it's in the correct location in the yard and we might have to relocate it a little bit as well, even if it's outside. So this is just a quick little exhibit to illustrate responsibility between KC Water and customer responsibility. Again, the contractor will coordinate with those property owners that have to have their water meters relocated outside. And then they will have a plumber come in and kind of pipe off the piping that's within the house, and they'll move the meter outside. Okay, this is just some quick project sequencing and durations. For the first project, 2227, we are going to be starting on line A, and I've tried to highlight that right here. This is East 55th Terrace. So this is where the contractor is going to start. As we move along in the project, the other locations will be scheduled, but the contractor is going to have one crew on each project to start with, and they have to complete the installation of one line before they move on to the next one. So, so as we get moving along, then they'll get this sequencing figured out, and we can share that information as well. Prior to starting work on a new line segment, the contractor will notify the customers. So you'll probably get a door hanger or a letter mailed. So whether it be line C or line B, they will notify the customers before they start working. On project 2216, right now the plan is to start again on line 1. I've tried to highlight it right here to show. This is on East 30th Terrace. Again, they will have one crew working on this, and as soon as they're done with this, they'll move on to the next line. As they figure that out, they will notify customers prior to the start of construction. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jason with Infrastructure Solutions, our contractor, and he's going to go a little bit over schedule and logistics, what to expect over the next couple of weeks.
Hello, my name is Jason Conklin, and I will be the project manager for Infrastructure Solutions. And we look forward to getting the project started and then making improvements to infrastructure in the neighborhoods. Things to expect are pretty similar to what Melanie laid out. Our crews will be around doing pre-construction photographs, doing locates on the other utilities that are underground, doing some potholing and placing door hangers and notification to the residents in those areas. Our working hours will be 7 to 5:30 generally. We won't try to make too much noise any earlier than that, and be respectful of everybody's sleeping times and early morning hours. And we will work Monday through Thursday, with Friday being a makeup day if we get rain or encounter any inclement weather throughout the weeks. We'll probably have a crew that is installing the main and a crew that is helping with the restoration and keeping things cleaned up as we go along. So you may see a couple of different crews working in the area at the same time, but generally speaking, we're gonna start out with one crew on each project and start in those areas that Melanie highlighted and follow those maps from line 1, 2, 3, and so forth. And then the other project, they're titled or indexed as A, B, and C. So those we'll kind of work through those alphabetically. That's our plan as of today. So, Melanie, is there anything else you want me to go over or want me to share any more details on?
Nope, that was perfect. Thank you, Jason.
Yep.
And just to reiterate, as Jason mentioned, we do have our notice to proceed. I believe it's next week. And so you will see them out there marking utilities, taking photos. But again, the heavy construction activities are not going to begin for a couple of weeks. And you will be notified prior to that happening. So I just wanted to reiterate that a little bit. So thank you, Jason, for that explanation. Finally, we did send out postcard invitations to this meeting. They are actually attached to the meeting invite also, if anybody needs to review those. Again, the website, kcwater.us projects and then current projects. That's where the information sheet and then also this recording will be located after the fact. And then I wanted to leave this slide up because it has Jason's contact information at Infrastructure Solutions, and it has Reza's contact information with his phone number. He's our project manager. And then Brian, it also has his contact information. So Brian will be kind of the boots on the ground the KC Water representative every day out there working with Infrastructure Solutions. Rez will be in the office and will be out in the field occasionally, but please feel free to contact any of the three of these numbers up here if you have any questions or concerns whatsoever. All three are responsive and will be able to answer any questions that you have. Okay. And with that, we'll go into questions. And Jeff, I'll have you kind of man and see if there are any hands raised or any questions in the chat.
Yep. So if you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat function. There's a raise hand feature up at the top, or you can just speak up if you like. If you are muted on the phone, *6 will unmute you on the phone. So.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
We can, yes.
Yes, we can.
I just wanted to take a moment. Good evening, everybody. This is Councilwoman Parkshaw, and I just wanted to thank those of you who made a commitment to join us tonight, and also just want to thank the staff, KC Water, and all of you and your supportive staff for all the work that you do for us in the 5th District. So thank you very much. Have a good evening. I didn't have any questions. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay.
Not seeing anything in the chat, Melanie. So
okay. Perfect. All right. Well, everyone, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. As we said, if you have any questions, just reach out to us, and the recording of this presentation will be posted in the next day or two. So thank you all.
Yep. Always go to the website and to find information and contact numbers. So feel free to reach out to us if anything comes up during construction. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your service.
Yeah,
Good night.
you're welcome. Bye-bye. Good night.
We had 5 guests plus the councilwoman, 6 guests plus the councilwoman. I thought that was a pretty good turnout.
Well, oh, you're muted, Jeff. Where do I go to get the,
Yep, we got a few still on, but you should be able to, Melanie, you should be able to go to the participants list, and I think you should have an option to download the participants from there, so.
well, download, there we go. Okay, got it.
Cool.
Okay, so Michael, I'll get the presentation and then the participation list, and I'll get that emailed over to you tomorrow.
Okay, and make sure you get the recording as an MP4.
MP4, okay.
Yeah, so we can put it on YouTube and then put it on the webpage.
Okay, so cool.
All right, thank you all. Have a great
Thanks,
night.
you guys.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody. Good night.
Bye.